Hello, good morning everybody. Welcome back. Jiujitsu2000 here today. I'm back and today I have an interesting video for you. I have a ThruNite offering today. This is model TH01. This is a headlamp. And I want to say thank you to ThruNite right off the bat for sending this out for review. The first thing that I see when I open the package is this little tag that says quick guide. Please screw down the light head and tail cap tightly before use. The next thing that I see is the owner's manual. Let's take a quick look at that. So here is the owner's manual. Is that English right there? Yes it is. So let's take a look at the technical parameters. Feel free to pause if you want to hang on to this a little longer. And let's go ahead and talk about the settings. We have Firefly of 0.6 lumens. This will last for 20 days. Then we move up to low, 9 lumens for 44 hours. Medium is 85 lumens for 6.5 hours. Then we go up to high, 450 lumens for 3 hours. That's a pretty good setting. And then of course turbo, 1500 lumens for 5 minutes. That's pretty good. And then to prevent overheating, it'll drop down from 1500 down to 430 lumens. So basically it goes down to high, a little less than high. And then it'll last an additional hour and 20 minutes. This is IPX8 down to 2 meters of waterproof, meaning that it can go completely underwater. Impact resistant down to 1.5 meters. And the candela rating on this is 4000. And it has 126 meters of throw. XHP50 LED, I think that's a CREE LED, orange pill reflector. And there's a little bit about that. So let's go ahead and keep moving forward. Let's pull out this foam here. There's a look at the light, but I want to see what else is in the box. I really like this. They include another strap for the head strap, this little rubber piece. That's cool. Because if this one breaks or one of these things breaks, you have a backup. That's really cool. Most people don't do that. The next thing we see is the USB 2 to micro USB charging cable. So basically you plug this into your wall outlet, your laptop computer, your battery bank, your solar panel, and then the other end plugs into the light and you can charge the light with that included cable. Very nice. Another thing that we see here is a little rubber cap that covers the micro USB charging port on the light and 2 spare O-rings. What else do we have? We have some silica gel, which we don't need, and then we have the ThruNite card. So feel free to pause if you wish to read that. If not, I'm going to go ahead and set it down. What we want to do is we want to open this up real quick and look at the tail cap. Nice quality spring there. Looks like a nice tail cap. And then it does come with a battery. So this battery is a 18350 battery running at 1100 milliamp hour. This is a rechargeable. Operates at 3.7 volts. You can see the positive indicator and the negative indicator. So you got a nice little positive there and a nice negative there. So it's not a proprietary battery or anything like this. This is a rechargeable battery. So looking down in the tube, you can see the head of the light. There's a look at the lens. There is the LED in there. And then of course right here we have the power button and we also have the charge port. So you would basically pull this rubber up and you have access to that micro USB charging port. So that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and push that back in. Now you got to have that rubber thing in there, otherwise you lose that IPX8 waterproofness. So we'll put the battery in. So right there you can see the O-ring. And look at the thickness of the battery tube. That's real thick. So when we put this cap on and we start to thread it, it'll go over that O-ring and it'll smash against that O-ring, and that's what gives us that IPX8 waterproof standard. Now to turn the light on, we're going to push and hold the button. We're going to go into Firefly mode. Again, that's 0.6 lumens for 20 days. Push and hold a little more and we'll cycle through the modes. Low, medium, high. Now if I double press, we'll go up to turbo. 1500 lumens. If I want to get to an SOS, I will triple click. You can see the battery level indicator there. So blue is telling us that our battery is between 21 and 100%. If this goes red, we're between 11 and 20%. If it goes flashing red, we are between 1 and 10% on that battery level indicator. That's also going to be our charge indicator. So when we plug our micro USB in there, it's going to turn red when it's charging, blue when it's finished charging, and if you see anything flashing purple, you have a charging malfunction. Now let's take a look at the head strap here. So that's what the headlamp looks like with the strap on. Again, the power button is right here, so we'll just push, go to moonlight mode, push and hold low, medium, high, double press for turbo, triple press for SOS. This light does have a memory mode, so let's say I turn the light on. Let's go to low. Let's say we're on medium. If I turn the light off and I turn it back on, it'll go to medium. If I'm on high and I turn the light off, turn it back on, it goes back to high. If I'm on low and I turn the light off and back on, it goes back to low. Now let's test and see if it memorizes Firefly mode. So we're on Firefly, turn it off, turn it on. Is that Firefly? Nope. So it does not remember Firefly. Okay, for this next portion of the test, you can see that I've taken the light off of the head strap. So let's go to, let's say medium there. We're going to drop that in the water. We're testing the IPX8 waterproof standard. Again, I can't stress it enough. You got to make sure that little cover is protecting that port. So IPX8 waterproof. So now let's go ahead and push and hold and see if we can get to Firefly. Yep. Push and hold. There's low, medium, high. Let's try turbo. Yep. And let's take a look at the strobe. I like the feel of the button. It feels good. The power level indicator is working. So everything is working good and it's passing the IPX8 waterproof standard. So I figured since we had the light out of the head strap, we could take a really close, detailed look at the light. See what it looks like up close and personal. So there's the nice little orange pill reflector there. You can see that LED. And that housing is nice and thick. I like that. Nice thick housing. Pretty cool little light. I'm trying to find those threads. There we go. Okay, here we are. We're looking at 0.6 lumens for 20 days. That's a pretty good setting. The power level indicator does not work when you're using Firefly mode. But you can see that that's plenty of light to read or look in your pack or things of that nature. I think that's a pretty good setting. Let's bump it up. Now we are on low. And low, that looks like a pretty good setting. This is 9 lumens for 44 hours. Let's bump it up to the next setting. This is medium. This is 85 lumens for 6.5 hours. Pretty good amount of light. You can see the power level indicator there. Let's bump it up to high, low, medium, high. 450 lumens for 3 hours. Now a double press is going to turn it to turbo. Again, turbo 1500 lumens for 5 minutes. That's a long run time. That's a long turbo. Most turbos are 1 minute, 2 minutes. But this one's 5 minutes, and then it drops down to 430 lumens for an additional 80 minutes. That's an hour and 20 more minutes after the step down. So that's pretty cool. Very cool. Now let's take a look at the SOS. And now that you have a kind of understanding of what we're looking at, let's go point to the ground here a little bit, and then we will go back to Firefly. Can you see anything? I really can't. I can barely see the ground. My final thoughts on this light are pretty simple. I think this is a good light. I think it's going to do some good things. I think it's a good performer. Now, this light does not have a lockout mode, but what you can do is a mechanical physical lockout where you unthread that tail cap just a little bit and the light won't come on. So if it's in your pack and you're going to be hiking or something, you don't want the light coming on, just unthread that a little bit. And then when you get to the destination where you're getting ready to use your light, tighten that tail cap again till it's tight, and then of course now the light will work. So folks, I want to say thank you for joining me today on this video of the ThruNite model TH01. I hope you got some good useful information out of this video. I think this thing is a solid performer. I think it's going to do good things. Again, I want to say thank you to ThruNite for sending this out for review. As always, folks, thanks for stopping by. I hope you have a beautiful day, and we'll see you next time. This lens is glass. Bye for now.